Let's move on to the number 3 prospect in the system, Ryan Waldschmidt. Does a little bit more than standing around in the outfield. Certainly a much more impressive player from the University of Kentucky, SEC school, picked in the prospect promotion incentive pick. So that's going to be for Corbin Carroll winning the Rookie of the Year. We were talking about Corbin Carroll just a minute ago, and he comes up again here on the Diamondback Show. Ryan Waldschmidt was the selection. A bag of tools that are pretty solid. Waldschmidt has been called a data darling, Reese. What do you make of Waldschmidt, and what do you think of his major league potential moving forward?
So he was someone who kind of, so he started his collegiate career at college. Let me pull that up. It was at Charleston Southern University. And then all of a sudden he gets bumped up. He transfers up to the University of Kentucky. And then we're starting to see that this is really, really good approach here. He struck out 45 times and walked 41 times in 2024 at the University of Kentucky to the tune of a 16% strikeout rate and a 15% walk rate. Both of those are awesome. And then we're talking about a guy who has an optimized swing, who hits 14 home runs in the SEC. He stole 25 bases also in the SEC and hit 330, 469, 610 to the tune of 138 WRC plus, which means that he was 38% better than the average competition in the SEC, which is equivalent to about single A. And he went and he signed as the second pick in that draft for the Diamondbacks and ended up performing really well in single A. Like, we're talking about a guy who walked more than he struck out. He ended up walking 15 times, struck out 9, albeit a small sample size, but still, this is the sort of approach that we're talking about. Is a data darling because he walks, he hits for power, he can probably play center field, probably not for a team like the Diamondbacks, who have a bunch of really, really good center field options, maybe moves to left or right field. But we're talking about he has all the tools, and if he can continually hit the way he's shown that he did in the SEC, then we're talking about a really nice, for a really good team, he hits 5th, 6th or 7th. So that's sort of the upside I see with Ryan Waldschmidt. He's got everything that you want: good approach, good power, good speed. And if he just plays good enough center field to maybe even play right field or left field, then we're talking about one of the better picks in this draft.
I think so too, buddy. Plus pull side power, 109, essentially 90th percentile max exit velocity and 112 max. Good approach at the plate, 80% contact in his senior year at Kentucky. I really think Waldschmidt is almost being slept on quite a bit. He's incredibly talented, does a little bit of everything well, and I love that you were calling out the numbers from his senior year at Kentucky. Again, 14 homers, 25 stolen bases. Looking at that isolated power, 277. We're not going to see that kind of power. I don't think that we're looking at a 20 home run bat by any stretch of the imagination, but I think this is pretty comfortably like a double-digit homer steal. I mean, peak seasons, maybe 18, 15, but that'll play in fantasy. And I mean, with very acceptable ratios and playing hopefully in a strong Diamondbacks or a strong offense, no matter where he's at, I think Waldschmidt can be very impressive for fantasy, Reese. Had him ranked 132 of my top 500 plus prospects. I'm curious, do you think that that's too high, too low, or right on that Goldilocks zone, just right?
I think it's a little low. As you can tell, I think Waldschmidt was the best of their selections in this draft. I think the fact that he fell to 31 is kind of impressive. The Diamondbacks continually get guys that I really like to fall to them. Maybe that says more about me and the Diamondbacks, being good at evaluating. But yeah, Waldschmidt, you're talking about, he's an optimized swing, and that's why data darlings love him. He lifts and pulls almost as good as anybody in this past draft. Cam Smith had to wait until he was a professional to start lifting and pulling. Ryan Waldschmidt was doing that at the University of Kentucky. So I'm just in on Ryan Waldschmidt. I think that he's going to be a very good hitter for a very long time. I don't think he's ever going to be like an all-star or anything like that, but a comfortable, average to slightly above average big leaguer is well within the range of outcomes for Ryan Waldschmidt.
Right there with you. I'm definitely in agreement that this was the creme de la creme for the Diamondbacks 2024 draft. I have him ranked number 19 on my FYPD rankings for this season. My number 10 college bat overall. Very similar to a guy like Carson Bench. I think they're going to have very similar careers as being just kind of stat stuffer, good across the board, underappreciated. I'll take a stab at that, probably 20 years too early. An underappreciated career for Ryan Waldschmidt.